All right, welcome to another episode of the Bible Thumping Wingnut here on YouTube. Today is September 2019, and lots of interesting things going on, and lots of interesting things being said about debating and charismania. Dr. Brown, Justin Peters, Chris Roseborough, and others. And I am excited to bring you the content that I have today because, believe it or not, some are saying that the reason why Justin Peters will not debate Dr. Michael Brown is because of me. Because of me, and we're going to look at that, and we're gonna see if there's any validity to that. So I'm excited about sharing that with you. So I have some content from three different platforms. One, two, three, and five. We're going to look at five separate clips. Okay, we're going to look at clips from Dr. Michael Brown. We're going to look at a clip from Justin Peters. We're going to look at a clip from Chris Roseborough at Pirate Christian Radio. And then we're going to look at some people who have some crazy ideas about why really Justin Peters will not debate Michael Brown. It's going to be very interesting. And so not only am I making this video for to explain my view of some of the feedback, some of the chatter out there about why Justin Peters won't. Should Justin Peters debate Michael Brown? Okay, yeah, the other reason why I'm doing all this is to inform you, Bible Thumping Wing viewer. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, you need to. And if you don't know what's going on here at this YouTube channel, watch the trailer because there's a lot of content dropping here. We even have a Sunday sermon now at 9 a.m. Eastern time posting every Sunday. So lots of content, and more than I can mention, but I do mention it in the trailer. So click on the trailer and then subscribe to this YouTube channel. Lots of stuff being posted here. Please allow me to get a drink of water. When I get so excited, my throat gets tight and I start to lose my voice. So let me calm down a little bit. I'm excited. I've done my homework, and what I want to do is I want to give you, the viewer of the show, a concise explanation to what's going on. Okay, Dr. Michael Brown of the Line of Fire is a charismatic individual, and he believes the continuation of the gifts, specific gifts like speaking in tongues, healings, prophesying, things like that. And then there's another group that I'm a part of that believes that some of the gifts have ceased, like the ones that I mentioned. However, we believe that God still heals divinely, and that's an important thing we're going to look at. So Dr. Brown has said, "Hey, I'm willing to debate Justin Peters because Justin Peters is very outspoken against the charismatic movement, and Dr. Michael Brown is part of the movement, whether he says he is or not." And so let's get into this. All right, I'm going to play the clips and give some commentary. And so buckle up. Here we go. Here is Dr. Michael Brown. Dr. Michael Brown, excuse me, is not going to engage. He's done responding to the critics. He's done. D-O-N-E. Done. This is a video he posted September 24th. So let's play this and see why he's done.
Revolution. Here again is Dr. Michael Brown.
Welcome back, friends, to the Line of Fire. I'm explaining why, at least for now and for the indefinite future, I'm simply not responding to the charismatic critics, the critics of the charismatic movement, the ones that want me to name this name. If I don't damn this one to hell, they won't interact with me in a constructive way. Friends, it's unethical. Friends, it's unbiblical. And I'm going to tell you why. Now, look, please understand. Todd Friel has my phone number. Justin Peters.
So he's saying it's unethical for Justin Peters to say, I'm not going to debate you because you won't damn your friends to hell. So we're going to see if that's a truthful statement or not.
Has my phone number. Some of them have my email. Many others have my email. If they ever want to contact me, they can contact me, just so that can be known. But I reached out to Justin Peters again. I had done it months earlier. I reached out again, said, rather than a debate, you want to debate Word of Faith with me. I don't want to debate Word of Faith because I'm not Word of Faith, okay? You want to debate Benny Hinn, Kenneth Copeland. I'm not in their ministries. I don't support their ministries. I'm not going to debate that. You want to debate divine healing? I'll debate it. Doesn't want to debate that. I said, well, let's have a pastoral discussion where you and I, with our differences, can speak to the sick and the suffering and how do we deal with Scripture and how does this work itself out? So he puts out a 31-minute video, over 1/3 of which is devoted to Todd Bentley, okay? This is why I say it's unethical and it's misleading, all right? He puts this out explaining graciously why he won't have the pastoral discussion. So I am publicly addressing it because I've been asked to by many, but that's it. You can always call me and ask me a question on the air, all right? But I'm done addressing these things. He or others can post 50 follow-up videos. God bless them. Let them do what they want to do. But not going to happen from here. It's too much of a waste of time, too much taking time away from others that could be helped. Again, I've reached out to try to help my friends that are not charismatic or those that are genuinely confused by these things. And the phone lines are always open for you to call, all right? But here's what troubles me. Next month makes 48 years since God saved me, all right? 48 years, or 2 months from now, 48 years. And over that time, by his grace, I spent...
All right, I'm gonna cut him off there because all he's going to do for the next 2 minutes is brag about his testimony, how much he prays, how much he has done scholarly work, and how wonderful a godly man he is. And he's saying that all so he can conclude with this.
And you are not going to dismiss decades of prayer and study and fasting and serious ministry, all right? And being in the trenches with hurting people, and then put together a video where you spend 1/3 of it pointing to Todd Bentley as if that has anything whatsoever to do with me or my discernment or my ability to be pastoral. That, friends, is unethical. That, friends, is out of order. That, friends, is either unintentionally misleading.
We'll get into this more, but I'll bite my tongue now because I really like to jump in and say things. But sorry.
Or intentionally deceptive. I got an email, a text from a pastor today. God forbid I should be critical of another brother, but the video reply of Justin Peters seems to have used theological cloaking to hide from direct conversation, which seems very not courageous and not brave and somewhat not honorable to maintain his comfort level as opposed to interactive relationship building. I got to ask, would the Lord do that? I consider challenging his freedom to take shots at you at a distance rather than doing some real good and having a conversation that may lead to better understanding, but that's just a thought. God bless. It's a good thought.
So I'll stop this portion here because the reason why I played it for you is because the conversation is this. Justin Peters doesn't want to have a pastoral conversation with him, and Dr. Brown is quite offended by that because, well, I have been walking with the Lord for so long, and I've written so many books, and I've said so many prayers, and I've done so much scholarly work. How do you dare dismiss all of that? How does he dare dismiss all of that? So let's go to Justin Peters. How is it that he dismisses all that? All right? Is there any legitimacy to what Dr. Brown says? And this is Justin Peters' video he put this out 4 days before Dr. Michael Brown said, "Hey, I'm done. I am absolutely done. I'm done." The clip that we just watched, and we're going to watch more of that Dr. Michael Brown clip in a minute. But here is the video that Dr. Brown was referring to, and it was posted 4 days, like I said, 4 days ahead. 43,000 people have watched it, and I've fast forwarded to the 28-minute 53-second mark because this is where Justin is going to wrap it all up. He's making his concluding statements here. He's going to summarize why he won't have a pastoral conversation with Dr. Brown. And I'm withholding my opinion till the end, okay? Because I have strong opinions, and they're different than anybody that we're playing thus far, okay? Because I have my own opinion, and I'm going to get to it at the end, so stay tuned. Here is Justin Peters summing up his response to Dr. Michael Brown's invitation.
But it is not enough to just be right on.
He's summing up. He just right before this, he's saying, "Hey, Dr. Brown, I know you're correct on the atonement and some other things we can agree on, but it is not enough to be correct on some things." And he continues.
Certain doctrines. You mentioned having a pastoral discussion. Part of being a pastor, part of being a Bible teacher is not only teaching the truth, but it is refuting those who contradict. And John Calvin has a quote. I'm sure you've seen this before. John Calvin says this: "The pastor ought to have two voices, one for gathering the sheep and another for warding off and driving away wolves and thieves. The Scripture supplies him with the means of doing both." Indeed. And Dr. Brown, the reason I cannot have a pastoral discussion with you about healing is that you do not warn about the wolves and the thieves. You do not call them out by name. You call them your brothers. And that is not pastoral. That is anything but pastoral. And so in closing, let me reaffirm that I do believe that God still heals people today, only when it is His sovereign will to do so. It is not always God's will for us to be physically healed. It's just not. The Bible is full of examples of faithful servants of God who were not physically healed this side of heaven. The other side of heaven, yes, we will. We will be healed. We will have our glorified bodies. But we are not guaranteed that this side of heaven.
Okay. So, in the earlier parts of this video, Justin Peters pointed out that Michael Brown embraces, believe it or not, as a brother, Kenneth Copeland, Sid Roth, Todd White, and Todd Bentley. And you might say, well, big deal, They have solid doctrinal statements, and that is exactly what we're going to hear Dr. Michael Brown say. I'll try not to give too much commentary because like I said, I like to chime in, but the way I've got this organized, I don't have to say much, okay? So in the previous clip, Justin Peters documented very clearly, hey, you are not pastoral at all. We can't have a pastoral discussion because you affirm Kenneth Copeland as a brother and Sid Roth and Todd White. And Justin Peters took the opportunity to document very clearly the heresies, the faults, the charlatan, evil, wicked ways of those men that Dr. Brown lacks utter and any sense of discernment. Okay, so then here is how Dr. Brown responds to that in his video that he made 4 days later.
Because he said, I fear we're talking past each other. I said, great, then let's talk. I'm still waiting for it. So I reiterated publicly what I put in the email, all right? Which is, let's have a pastoral discussion. Here the exact words. I said, as for your declining to debate me on divine healing, in fact, Dr. White and I only debated this subject in part. Why not present our differing views, but with pastoral hearts, addressing issues and abuses with honesty? How could that hurt? As for your offer to debate you on Copeland or Hinn, why on earth will I do that? I'm not in their camps. I have no relationship with them, and I don't agree with some of their teaching or practice. And I said, the fact is, when someone called you and Chris Roseborough from Pirate Radio false Christians on Twitter, I defended you as true believers, but took issue with your spreading falsehoods. In the same way, I defend Bill Johnson as a brother, even while dialoguing with him privately about differences we have.
So he's just a really nice guy. He just wants to talk things through. So what's the big deal?
So look, here's what happens. The cessationist critics of the charismatic movement, they don't open the door wide, all right? So they're not going to let all this crazy error in, they would say, but they're going to damn a whole lot of brothers and sisters. Charismatics, they open the door too wide, and they bring in all kinds of junk, but they don't go around damning everybody else to hell. Each one has a strength and weakness, which is why I keep trying to bring people together.
Oh, he's just a really nice guy. He just wants to bring people together. And I will comment here, and then I'll play that clip again, okay? What he just said is, hey, the people who are like myself, who say, hey, these gifts of the gift of healing, that is the gift of, hey, I have the gift of healing and I can touch people and shout fire, fire, fire on their heads and them be healed. Or I have the ability like Todd White to go on the street and lengthen somebody's leg, which is actually no lengthening of leg at all. It's a parlor trick. Okay. So what Dr. Brown just said is people like me, people who are, forgive me if I say the word wrong, cessationists, we believe that the apostolic gifts are no longer for today. He says that we have the door open just a little bit. All right, we're just going to open the door a little bit and say just a little bit of people are saved. Kind of like the road to heaven is narrow, the way is narrow, kind of like that. I think that's what he's alluding to. And the reason why we keep this door open narrow when we look at the charismatics is because the main, most popular teachers in charismania, Kenneth Copeland, Sid Roth, Todd White, Todd Bentley, and others, they're charlatans. They're in error, as Dr. Brown just said. We believe they're in error. They're false teachers. They're deceivers. They're liars. They're wicked, wicked men, harming the church, taking advantage of people. And then Dr. Brown just went on to say, we continuationists, we tend to have the door open a little too far, open real wide, and we bring in, according to his exact words, all kinds of junk. You know what that all kinds of junk is? That's the charlatans that are in error. That's the false teachers, the deceivers, the liars, the wicked, sinful men that need to be called out. He says the continuationists, we open that door too wide. So there's air on both sides. I'll play it again.
So I reiterated publicly what I put in the email, all right? Which is, let's have a pastoral discussion. Here the exact words. I said, as for your declining to debate me on divine healing, in fact, Dr. White and I only debated this subject in part. Why not present our differing views, but with pastoral hearts, addressing issues and abuses with honesty? How could that hurt? As for your offer to debate you on Copeland or Hinn, why on earth will I do that? I'm not in their camps. I have no relationship with them, and I don't agree with some of their teaching or practice. And I said, the fact is, when someone called you and Chris Roseborough from Pirate Radio false Christians on Twitter, I defended you as true believers, but took issue with your spreading falsehoods. In the same way, I defend Bill Johnson as a brother, even while dialoguing with him privately about differences we have. So look, here's what happens. The cessationist critics of the charismatic movement, they don't open the door wide, all right? So they're not going to let all this crazy error in, they would say, but they're going to damn a whole lot of brothers and sisters. Charismatics, they open the door too wide, and they bring in all kinds of junk, but they don't go around damning everybody else to hell. Each one has a strength and weakness, which is why I keep trying to bring people together.
Bad idea. We don't want to be together. We don't want to be together with Todd White. Like, Justin Peters did a great job in his video. He recently, Dr. Brown with his arm around Todd White saying, "Oh, I just met Todd White. He has such a heart for God." He's a liar. He's stealing from people. There's no way that Todd White is honest in his faith. And Justin Peters and other people have pointed this out. This lengthening of the leg parlor trick it's a sleight of hand. It's complete deception. He's not healing people at all. There's no way Todd White is a sincere believer. Zero. And Michael Brown's like, "Hey, he's my brother. Hey." And Justin Peters like, "Hey, Todd White's my brother, and let's all come together." No, let's not do that. Let's mark them. Let's separate from them. Let's not be vague about them. Let's be specific and call them out for what they are. They're wicked, sinful men who are lost, who are stealing from the church, giving false hope, teaching falsely, prophesying falsely. So Justin Peters is like, "Hey, I'm not going to debate you because you're not pastoral. You don't have discernment at all in any measure, and you embrace these men who are clearly charlatans. So that's why I'm not going to engage with you." So should that be a reason? I'm withholding my opinion till the end, but my opinion is not the same as Justin Peters. Now, let's go to somebody that I really want to share his content. I'm really excited to share with you Chris Roseborough. Love Chris Roseborough. Love Justin Peters. Before I do, please, we're going to go to a short commercial. What's going on with Bible Thumping Wingnut? We have an exciting event happening, the Builders Summit. I want you guys to consider being part of the Builders Summit. It's coming up November 8, 9, and 10. Here's a brief commercial. Men like to fix things, make things, build things, things that last. There are very few activities that are more satisfying than working hard to build something meaningful, something useful, or something that others can admire and enjoy. Lasting things that serve a purpose. In the scriptures, the Apostle Paul describes himself as a skilled master builder. Then he tells us that we are now building on the faith foundation that he laid, warning us to build carefully. The question is, are we building properly or in vain? Men, I want to invite you to the BTWN Builders Summit. The Builders Summit is a 3-day, 2-night gathering of men who are driven to become skilled master builders, to be the best men they can be for the glory of God. Builders Summit, November 8, 9, and 10. Register at builderssummit.org. At checkout, use coupon code BTWN to receive 20% off your registration. That's 20% off. builderssummit.org. Register today. All right. Super excited about the Builders Summit. That's happening right here in the Northeast Pocono Mountains, about 8 weeks away, 7 weeks away. You don't want to miss that. it's something I've been wanting to do since day one with Bible Thumping Wingnut, and that is minister to my fellow brothers in Christ. That's been my goal with Bible Thumping Wingnut from the start. When I started, excuse me, I nose itching. When I started Bible Thumping Wingnut, that was my goal, and then I got engaged by the atheist community, which I thought, hey, okay, if the atheists are going to be my audience, I'll address atheism. And I studied atheism, engaged with atheists for the most part for a few years. And then we got into a whole bunch of other things with apologetics, other apologetics, and theology, and a podcast and everything. And so excited about the Builder Summit. Go to buildersummit.org. If you have any questions at all, email me, BibleThumpingWingnut@gmail.com. Super. You want to be there. It's going to be great. The format, the men I have coming, as you notice, I'm not building it around personalities. That's not like, hey, Vody Belcom's going to be there, or hey, Paul Washer's going to be there, which would be good and be fine. But the approach I'm taking is more man to man. I'm bringing in some of my favorite pastors that I feel have the same heartbeat I have for ministering to men directly. Austin Hessler, Dustin Seegers, those are the two pastors that are coming. Also speaking there is going to be Adam Staub of Shine His Lights. George Bruno is going to be there to host, and Michael Foster of It's Good to Be a Man Ministry. He's going to be there too. So it's going to be awesome. We're going to have great time of fellowship, challenging each other. Some of the segments we're going to air on this YouTube channel, and then we're going to turn the cameras off, and we're going to have discussions also. So we're going to have some great time of iron sharpening iron and good stuff. Okay, Chris Roseborough. Love Chris Roseborough from Pirate Christian Radio. And this is him. This is his response to Michael Brown's invitation to dialogue. And surprisingly, I'm going to disagree with both Chris Roseborough and Justin Peters, surprisingly, but just slightly. And it's going to be just my opinion. But okay, here's what Chris Roseborough has to say, and it's interesting. And I think you're going to love it too.
Believe the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. So the idea.
Yeah, this is a 47-minute video. I'm starting at the 43-minute mark, generally, and as he sums up his thoughts on the matter.
Is that Michael Brown, for all of his blustering about, I'm a continuationist. No, the charismatic and Pentecostal movements are not continuationists. They are restorationists.
Now, I thought that was interesting. I've been referring to them as continuationists. But Chris Roseborough points out, no, they are not continuationists. They are restorationists. And here's why.
And they falsely accuse people who believe in the cessation of the apostolic sign gifts of denying the need for exorcism today or denying that God can heal today, and nothing could be further from the truth. Like I said, I believe that God does heal today. I've seen him do it. But I've seen him do it not when somebody decrees and declares or claims to have a special miracle anointing or anything like that. I've seen him miraculously answer humble prayers. When people on their knees, with their heads bowed and their faces to the ground, say, "Dear Lord, have mercy on so-and-so. They are in desperate need for you to heal them." And God hears the humble prayers of his people and has provided miraculous healing for people. I've seen it happen on more than one occasion. So this idea that somehow that cessationists don't believe in healing today or the need for exorcism is just false. Michael Brown has made a straw man.
I don't know if he's going to explain it, but let me explain what he said previously. Chris Roseborough points out that it's not continuationism, it's restorationism, because when the Azusa revival happened, they were talking about restoring the apostolic gifts, restoring them, because they had apparently ceased. So when this whole charismania, current Pentecostal movement started with the Azusa revival, I think it was in the early 1900s, They called it a restoration, restoring, whatever that word is I'm trying to say.
And for him to sit here and say, we need to talk about pastorally, whether we're hurting people because we're denying that God heals today. I don't know anybody who believes that, except for like some kind of theological liberal who denies all the miracles of the Bible. So the idea then is that what Michael Brown is doing is basically avoiding the issue. The issue is that the signs and wonders that are put forward by the so-called special anointed ones, which makes them pseudo-Christoi, of the Pentecostal and charismatic movements. These are false signs. These are false wonders. These are by the activity of Satan in the law.
So as opposed to Justin Peters is saying, hey, I'm not going to debate you because you're not pastoral. You lack any sense of discernment. Chris Roseborough is saying, wait a minute. Dr. Michael Brown is just a obfuscator. He's dodging the issue. The issue. Dr. Brown is like, I just want to bring people together and want to talk. We just want to talk about whether God heals people or not. Chris Roseborough is like, yeah, we believe God heals people. Of course God heals people today. He heals people miraculously. But the issue isn't whether he does it or not. The issue is whether these charlatans who are anointed, like Todd Bentley is anointed, and like Stephen Powell is anointed, and all the superstars of the charismatic Pentecostal movement today, they're the anointed ones who have these special abilities like the Apostle Paul had. That's the issue, not whether God heals people. It's whether God is healing people like the way these charlatans are putting it forth. That's what needs to be debated. And Dr. Michael Brown is putting up a straw man and saying, hey, let's talk about whether God heals people or not today.
Lawless one. And what they're doing pastorally is destroying people. And Michael Brown has yet to address that. And until he does, I don't think I have anything that I would want to say to him, in private or in some kind of moderated dialogue. The man engages in obfuscation. And, I mean, even most recently, we noted that in our Charismatic Code of Ethics Rule 1 video, he basically tried to make the argument that somebody who has a special gift of healing can operate in that gift, even if they're engaging in egregious sin and vice. Yeah, that just shows you how bankrupt his theology is. It's corrupt. And it's corrupt because he doesn't properly understand the role of the gifts and the role of the Holy Spirit in the church. And I think that's demonstrable as well. So if you found this video to be helpful,
I found it to be very helpful. I would encourage everybody to always check out the videos that Justin Peters puts up and the videos that Chris Roseborough puts up over at Pirate Christian Radio. Both of them on YouTube. Fighting for the Faith on YouTube. And then the last clip I'm going to play, interestingly enough, is from the GK Network. This guy here engages mostly on Twitter. And because he doesn't like John MacArthur, the GK Network is like, yeah, we like you because you don't like John MacArthur. So for the most part, the GK Network is warring against John MacArthur and others. So we're going to go to the... he weighs in on it, on why Justin Peters won't. And it's interesting why he says it. I got a kick out of this. This is so funny. This is a good one. So this is funny. So anyway, this guy Derek is on talking to Jeff, and they got talking about why Justin Peters won't engage with Dr. Brown, and surprisingly enough, it's because of me.
The superior argument, and it all comes down to, as you were saying, it's if you have the truth on your side, okay, then you should not be afraid. And it's not that I think Justin Peters is afraid. I think what Justin No, let me rephrase that. I think Justin Peters is afraid, but I don't think he's afraid of Michael Brown. I think he's afraid of everybody else in his circle. That's what I think he's afraid of, because Tim Hurd and J.D. Hall and Phil Johnson, uh, I'm sure they would have something to say about that kind of a debate, and it would not be positive.
Why? Why not? Why not? All right, so here's where I reveal what I would like to have happen. All right? This Yahoo says that I'm going to have something negative to say if Justin Peters were to debate Dr. Brown. He could not be any further from the truth. I don't know why he's saying this. He thinks those guys over there, they think that they know what's going on, but they have no clue. He's saying Justin Peters won't debate Dr. Michael Brown because Justin Peters is afraid of what Tim Hurd might say. I'm honored that you think so highly of me, sir, but Justin Peters does not fear what Tim Hurd's opinion is in the slightest. In the slightest. And by the way, should Justin Peters or Chris Roseborough debate, or J.D. Hall debate Dr. Michael Brown? I would love that. I would host it at my own church. I would fly them all in. I would pay for it. I would love to see Dr. Michael Brown called out for his lack of discernment, for his lack of getting real discernment, giving any real critique of the charlatans who are rampaging the Christians, the poor Christians that haven't been taught proper doctrine. They're needy, many of them poor, they don't have a lot of money, many of them like low income and susceptible to prosperity, to like the guy who came out and criticized and is posted on this YouTube channel. Stephen Powell came out talking about Todd Bentley, exposing Todd Bentley. Stephen Powell he wrote a book on financial glory, selling so anyway, when I heard Dr. Brown calling out Justin Peters, I was like, yes, I would love to. I understand Justin Peters' argument. I understand, and there's validity to Justin Peters' position. I'm not condemning him in any way, but I would love to see that debate. Wouldn't you love to see that debate? Years ago, on this YouTube channel, Jordan Hall debated a charismatic fellow. There's thousands of views on that. You can go and watch that. And at that time, JD debated that gentleman, hoping that he would get Dr. Brown to debate him. So J.D. Hall wants to debate Dr. Brown, but Dr. Brown's like, no, you're not very civil. You're kind of a bully. You're kind of a mean guy. I don't want to debate J.D. Hall. I wouldn't want to debate J.D. Hall either. But I hope J.D. Hall's still willing. And I hope Dr. Michael Brown. Well, Dr. Michael Brown said he'd debate that Chavez guy. Which, if you're gonna debate that guy, you should be willing to debate J.D. Hall for sure. But okay, so I understand Justin Peters' position, and I understand. I don't know. I love Chris Roseborough, but when Chris Roseborough says I don't have anything I would want to say to Dr. Michael Brown because he's obfuscating and all this other stuff, well, that's why we have a debate, like cross-examination, right? Tremendous opportunity. Let's ask direct questions. Like, if we could come up with a thesis that we could agree on, let's have the debate. So I'm right with Derek saying, hey, we should debate. No way am I going to condemn. Why would I condemn Justin Peters for debating an issue? If we could come up with an actual thesis of a debate, not one that is so soft that we both agree on it. Does God heal today? Does God heal people today? We agree with that. Dr. Michael Brown agrees with that. Chris Roseborough agrees with that. Justin Peters agrees with that. They all said that. I said that. The question is, like I said before, these anointed charlatans who are destroying and rampaging poor people, poor in their theological knowledge, poor in their financial abilities, poor in their own discernment. They haven't been taught. Okay, there's a little bit more in this clip here.
Especially coming from Hall and Hurd, that would definitely not be positive. I mean, you had Michael Brown on your show. Was it the next day? J.D. Hall comes out with he revoked your discernment card.
Yeah, pretty
and
much.
It's like, yeah, I'm like, why? Because he had the.
I'll tell you why. It wasn't JD that said, Jeff, the GK, I've revoked your discernment card, because he had Michael Brown on his show and coddled him just like James White did. Michael Brown did the same thing on Jeff the GK's show as he did on the Dividing Line. He promoted some of these wicked, lying charlatans, and James White and Jeff Dornick both went, oh, okay, people have criticized Todd White, this, that, and the other thing. Well, I don't know anything about him. And Jeff and Dr. White were like, oh, okay, whatever you say. That's why I said your discernment card is gone, because you have no discernment. If Dr. Brown was ever on my show, he would be called out on these things, called out on those relationships, not what happened with when he was on Jeff the GK show. So that's why.
Guy on, and because he actually had a discussion with him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, you go sit up there in your mobile home and be happy.
Yep.
That's why, again.
See that? That's a personal shot. Why would you bring up? He rolls his eyes about my mobile home, my 15-year-old mobile home. He doesn't mention my 1,400 square home that I own, this beautiful home that I own. There's a little bitterness there and a little snarkiness and frustration on my part. So that is how Justin Peters is not. That's why the title of this video. Justin Peters is afraid to debate Dr. Michael Brown because of what Tim Hurd would say. That's a joke. That's not true. That's silly. I got a lot of comments, and I'm really bad at commenting on videos when I'm live. And to be honest with you guys, I wasn't trying to make this live. I was going to try to post this in a couple days, but I haven't figured out how to do a stream and schedule it to premiere later. I didn't know I was even live, but there have been lots of you stopping by, and I see a lot of comments. I really appreciate it. Give a thumbs up if you haven't already. If you enjoy this content, share it. Go to Bible Thumping Wingnut, and hey, if you'd like to see more of this content, you'd like to support this channel, go to BibleThumpingWingnut.com. We've got all kinds of ways that you can do that. Click on support our ministry. So that's it. That's pretty much it. Let me think if there's anything I wanted to say that I didn't say. I would love, just to wrap it all up, Dr. Michael Brown, I just want to bring people together. And that's the problem. Lack of discernment and your view of continuationism. But I hope this helped. I hope me putting these clips together helped. And if you have any feedback, you can leave it on this video, or you can email me at BibleThumpingWingnut@gmail.com. God bless everybody. Till next time, take care, and thanks for watching.